GameReview.com.
Hello again, everybody. This is Joe Larson. It's the 505 on Racing Show. Welcome. Welcome to another fun-filled night of racing talk. Who has it better than me? Get to sit here and talk to people about racing. Some people get to write about it. Some people get to do it. I get to talk about it. And I talk about it with you guys and gals out there and whoever you may be. The weather finally broke here on Long Island, and it's not as cold as it was. We're getting some nice temperatures, and that's good because racing is going to be starting up soon. About a month away from some practices, and the weekly tracks opening up. And there was a tour race, a Southern Modified Tour race in Caraway this past weekend. We'll talk about it briefly. And the Whelen Modified Tour will be opening up soon at Thompson in about a month or so, a little bit less than a month. But it's all good. It's all good. But I have to start off today with Kurt Busch. I mean, it's old news by now, but you know what? You heard it here first. That guy, I said he was going to be back. I said he was going to be vindicated. And I also said that NASCAR was going to make concessions for him in order to get into the chase. And they did do that. He's still going to have to finish in the 30th in points, or in the top 30 in points to get in. But he's back in the seat at the Stewart-Haas Racing. With his sponsors all came back, even Chevrolet, who kind of kicked him to the curb when NASCAR suspended him indefinitely, and when they pulled out, and they're back, and you knew that was going to happen, and that's all part of the game, because in my opinion, let's say they did not, and this went the other way with Kurt Busch, then it would be, oh, Chevrolet supports, the domestic violence. So they had to do what they had to do, right, wrong, or different. And I'm a firm believer in you stick by somebody no matter what, and have the courage and convictions to do that. And a lot of people, for political reasons, and I say political, I don't mean Democratic, Republican, but political, but what's right, I guess, reasons in their head, bailed out on the guy. Not me. I was behind him 110%. You're innocent till proven guilty. This is still America, and so I'm glad. And he went out. He hasn't raced since last year. He went out in a top 5 finish this past weekend at Phoenix, and which is no easy task. So it's good to see that he's back in the seat, and hopefully this will be all behind him, and I'm glad that it's happening. I'm just glad. You have no idea how that bothered me, that because somebody said somebody else did something behind closed doors, and now the poor guy, and I'm going to stick with that, the poor guy was accused of doing something he didn't do, and there was no evidence to prove that. And the bottom line is, she went to his place of business, and his place of business is a racetrack, and his home, because his home during race weekends is his motor coach in a motor coach lot, and she went in there. And you know what? When you walk into a place where you're not welcome, stuff is going to happen. So, I have mixed emotions about that, because what the NFL guys did, one guy's beating his wife or girlfriend in an elevator on camera, another guy shoots his wife or girlfriend, in front of witnesses. This was behind closed doors, so I know NASCAR tries to be politically correct on some things, but you know what? I got to wonder if Kurt Busch has a little bit of a bad taste in his mouth for NASCAR. And if you noticed, his post-race interview was not typical Kurt Busch fashion. He chose his words carefully. He paused after every question. And it's one of those things that they teach you when you're going to law school for litigation, is when your client, whether you're the defense or the prosecution, when your client is on the witness and your witness is on the witness stand, and the opposing attorney asks the question, the person, the witness, will say, is told to go like this, after the question is asked, to give his or her attorney the opportunity to object to that question. And it slows down the rapid fire questions. It slows it down. Because, let's face it, you get a person to talk, they're going to say things that, maybe if they thought about it, they might have said that. It's called filters, which I lack. I'll be the first one to admit it. I lack filters at times. But if you notice, if you go back and if you DVR'd that race, you have it on tape, go back and look. When he was asked a question, he almost did that. It was like he went and answered the question. Very slow, very deliberate, chose his words carefully. But he is on probation for he's still on indefinite probation. So am I at a racetrack somewhere in the United States of America. I am on indefinite probation, and it's been like 4 or 5 years now. And it's to the point of, if God forbid, I came out of the men's room and I took the paper towel and I threw it at the trash receptacle and I missed it on the ground, I'd be accused of throwing trash around and I'd be out the door. So when you're on that indefinite probation, you do have to choose your words carefully. You have to be careful as to what you say. Nobody knows what was in that agreement that Kurt Busch signed with NASCAR a day or two after he was put on indefinite suspension, or suspended indefinitely. The only people that know about that is NASCAR, Kurt Busch, and I'm sure his attorneys and the higher-ups at Stewart-Haas Racing. But hopefully it's over now. It's a done deal. Let's get back to the business at hand. Let's go win some races. Let's go have some good finishes. Let's finish in the points where it's not an issue whether they're going to go that route with making concessions. Win a race, be in the top 30 in points, and that's the arrangement that NASCAR made. When he needs to be in the top 30 in points and win a race, he'll still be eligible for the chase. So and I'm on. See, it doesn't say lifetime. My letter, I still have it. My letter that I received said that I was on indefinite probation. And in fact, not to go off on a little thing, when I got the letter in January, and it was like 5 months after the incident, and the incident occurred when I was assaulted by a driver, another competitor. I shouldn't say another competitor because I was competing. I was there as a car owner. But what what the racetrack failed to see is that this person was arrested that night, spent 6 hours, or 4 hours, I'm going to say, in the town police, went to trial. Well, before I went to trial, he pled guilty to the charge, not even a lesser charge, to the charge, was fined an undisclosed amount of money and given community service. According to the NASCAR rulebook, 12-4A, actions detrimental to auto racing, if you hit somebody in the pit area, that's an automatic suspension and $500 fine in the weekly racing series. He did not get that. He was a hero. That's a whole nother story that we'll talk about some other day because an hour isn't long enough. But he was the hero. But anyway, what he had set out to do did not work. And there it is. I'm still surprised that I maintained my cool when it happened. But anyway, we're not here today to talk about that incident. But indeterminate, there you go. Indeterminate would be more like, but unfortunately the person who instigated that letter is no longer an official. And that same person tried to get a job in NASCAR, and I guess he didn't realize I still had a little bit of juice with some of the powers that be who made those decisions, and he ended up not getting that job at NASCAR. So now he's a nothing. He's a nothing. He's just a regular citizen, and I would love to meet up with him and have a little chat and talk about why he did some of the things he did to me. But anyway, that's a whole other thing. But I wish him well. I hope he's having fun on Saturdays and spending it with whoever he spends it with. But he doesn't go to races anymore, and that's a good thing. But anyway, yes. But anyway, the Cup Series, Kurt Busch, I said, like I said, finished fifth. The Cup Series and the Xfinity Series were at Phoenix this past weekend. In the Xfinity race, Joey Logano was the winner, followed by Matt Kenseth, Kevin Harvick, Austin Dillon, Eric Jones was fifth, and Ty Dillon sixth. Chase Elliott was seventh. We have Brendan Gaughan eighth, Reagan Smith ninth, and Brian Scott rounding out the top 10. The Xfinity will be at Auto Club Speedway in Fontana, California, coming up next. Race for them. In the Cup Series, Kevin Harvick was the winner, followed by Jamie McMurray. Ryan Newman, a solid third, with Casey Kane fourth. Kurt Busch, like I said, a top 5, great. Brad Keselowski sixth. Martin Truex Jr. was seventh. Joey Logano eighth. Jeff Gordon ninth, and Kyle Larson rounding out the top 10. Another race with a lot of empty seats. And I was watching the race, and I had said to somebody, I said, I can remember watching this race, and you saw dozens, if not hundreds of people sitting up in the hills, up by the cactus. There wasn't even anybody sitting up there. And I think NASCAR needs to take a look at, the poor attendance at these races. Not that it's NASCAR's fault, in some way we argue, but NASCAR and the track operators need to get together and figure out what's wrong. What's wrong that the attendance is so low? And I know those banners that are covering the seats. I had talked to Clay Campbell, president of Martinsville Speedway, about that, and Clay had said to me that, believe it or not, he makes more money in advertising, putting those signs over those seats, than he would have if he sold those seats. Now, Martinsville is a whole other thing when it comes to ticket prices. I think the most expensive seat now, without being in a suite, is $75. And for the Cup race, and I believe the truck race was like $25. I don't think you can get standing room only at some of these other NASCAR events for that kind of money. So, so that's how he could do that. I believe that's how that's done. And it's just a shame that the attendance is just bad. It's just bad. And they don't. But it's funny. 22 figure. We're gonna. I know you guys think I'm crazy. We're gonna take a quick break. When we come back, because I was gonna talk about that 22 figure 8. I'm gonna talk about that, the concessions and the revenues derived from the concessions when we come back.
Hey, this is Chris Lustig, and if InRavio.com spots you at an event wearing this bracelet, they will give you $100.
The world of advertising has changed. Radio, TV, and newspaper revenues have declined drastically. Why? Because businesses have realized that advertising return on investment isn't what it used to be. So what can we do about it? Well, that's easy. Advertise online. Own a local restaurant, real estate agency, or even a national retail chain? Whatever your business, InRavio can get your message out there, and we can do it at a fraction of the cost. Call today and see the difference for yourself. This isn't TV. This isn't radio. This is InRavio.com.
Hey, I'm Raul Panther.
And I'm Commander B. Hawkins.
And I'm Russ Weller. We're some of the Proto Men. If we see you without this bracelet, you get punched in the But if you have this bracelet from nravio.com, you can win $100.
Put one of these on, or else.
For over 60 years, Hanson Carpet has put the customer first, providing only the finest quality products and service. And Hanson Carpet is so much more than just carpet. We also carry a wide selection of window blinds and shades, and our licensed and insured technicians can service any of your flooring or window covering needs. Browse our huge selection of laminate, carpet, linoleum, vinyl, and tile. Stop by our showroom today or visit hansoncarpet.com. No matter what your project, Hanson Carpet has got you covered.
Hey, welcome back. All right. So, before I get into concessions, 22 Figure 8 was noticeably absent from the chat room last week because it was his birthday. I know we wished him a happy birthday last week, but 22 Figure 8, a belated birthday to you. 22 Figure 8 never misses a show, even when there's a Ranger game on. He kind of goes double duty there, multitask, as they put it. But anyway, concessions. I know at the International Speedway Corp owned racetracks / NASCAR, just a different makeup of the board of directors. The concessions, if you ever have gone to an International Speedway Corp facility and you look at the concession stands and you'll see a little sign somewhere, sometimes a big sign, it'll say operated by whatever, we'll say, the Boy Scouts of America, or, the Boys Club of America, or the PAL, or whatever. Here's how this works. They come in, they apply, whatever, how the paperwork part of it, I'm not really sure, but they come in and they say, all right, we want to sell, I don't know, snow cones. So International Speedway Corp says, okay, we're going to give you this booth now. This is what you need to do, XYZ corporation or organization. You need to buy your ice, your flavorings, your little cups, and whatever else you're going to need from us for X dollars. Then you will sell that for Y dollars. And we're going to get a cut of the Y, and what you end up with is Z. It's lucrative. Don't get me wrong. I was talking to one of the vendors who was doing just beverages up in New Hampshire a couple of years ago. And I was talking to him, and he said it was a pretty good deal, and he keeps coming back. And he says, they get a good price on what they buy, and the 5% or 10%, whatever arrangement they make with the track operator, International Speedway Corp, is fair and equitable. So, it's not a bad thing. So NASCAR is kind of getting it on both ends. Not NASCAR, but International Speedway Corp, which I think is NASCAR. But anyway, getting it both ends. Like 22 Figure 8 says, he brings enough beer so you won't have to buy any inside. And a lot of people do that, and they allow that. They tell you the size cooler you're allowed to bring in. It has to basically fit underneath your chair, and I believe just no glass bottles. But they do not bother you. You can bring in whatever you want to eat and drink, and and it's a good deal. But you're there a long time. I mean, I'm not a big beer drinker. I'm not really a beer drinker at all. But in the course of, I used to get to, like to Martinsville, for instance, when I was going as a fan. I would get there at like 8 o'clock in the morning, get in down the garage, have a little breakfast down there in the concession stand. Even though I just had breakfast at the hotel, and then and be there until the race ended, which was about 5 o'clock in the afternoon. So you're there 10 hours. So. It's funny, you see a little out of the corner of your eye, you see something in the chat room, and I don't know 22 Figure 8, but I know it's how can I say this? I'm going to give you a factual scenario, and I won't say which racetrack this was at, but back in '94, I was representing a late model team, and we were negotiating with a sponsor, let's put it that way. We were negotiating with a sponsor. And we brought in their PR guy to one of the meetings to meet and kind of discuss and kind of back up what we were saying. about demographics and fan base and how many people go and all that good stuff. And it was in the heyday, so it wasn't like, there was 318 people in the seats. So with the deal's going through, and I guess I could say who the company is. I guess it's better to ask for forgiveness than permission. But anyway, the company was Taco Bell. They were owned by Pepsi Corporation, PepsiCo at the time. And they were going to give the race team, this late model team, $15,000 or $12,500, something to that effect. And I represented the team, and I did the deal with the help of some people close to me. And we have the meeting and all this kind of good stuff. And the track owners wanted a piece of this pie. Not a piece of the 12.5, but they wanted a piece of, well, this is what the company wanted to do. Taco Bell wanted to open up a little taco stand, one in the back stretch, one in the front stretch. So of course, behind the grandstands, not on the racetrack, obviously. And the racetrack was okay with that. And so was Taco Bell, so was PepsiCo, until the contract came. And the contract said that the racetrack got like a $2,000 vendor fee and 20% of the sales. So the guy's sitting there and he says to me, Joe, it's either or. I says, look, this has nothing to do with me. It has to do with the PR guy that came to the meeting. So he says, yeah, but he goes, I'll give them one or the other. When I'm selling tacos at the time, I think he said like for 59 cents. He goes, my cost is 37. I'm making like 22 cents a taco. If I'm kicking them back 20%, I'm kicking them back like, by the time I pay my people, I lost money. So they kind of backed away a little bit. We still had our deal, and how that deal was lost is a whole nother story, and I'm not going to embarrass the driver, but the driver kind of threw that out the window by telling when Taco Bell or PepsiCo wanted the car painted a certain way for that money, because that's what we asked for, and they gave us the whole nut. And they said, by the way, we want the car painted this way. Here's the colors, and this is what the colors are called when you go buy the paint. And the guy says, well, my car's always been this color. Guy looked at him, and I'll never forget, guy goes, huh, what? And he goes, yeah, so the driver says, why don't you give me half, and I'll keep it my color, and you'll have yourself your logo. And the guy ripped the check up right in front of us. Anyway, and I don't know, Cutie Food. First of all, I don't talk to them anymore. I don't even say hello at that place. There's a lot of drivers there that I'm friendly with, that I call friend, that I go visit them when I'm there. But I don't tell them how to do anything anymore. And we'll never tell them how to do anything. And until there's new ownership at that facility, I'll just go sit with my friends, watch the races on the rare occasions that I do. And so I don't know. But I'm not here to smack them around. I really could care less, believe it or not. But anyway, but that's how some of these concessions work. And it's not always, the track's not getting all the money, and NASCAR's not getting all the money. There's deals made, and they do kind of share the wealth in that. Like somebody said earlier, I saw it's like a fundraiser for an organization. And some organizations, that is their fundraiser for the year, the local race in their local town, whether it's at Daytona, New Hampshire, wherever it may be. And that's what they do. And it makes it a lot easier when you think about it, because now the track doesn't have to worry about hiring people to come and sell hot dogs and soda and beer and things of that nature. And it kind of works out good. It's kind of like a win-win. It's not like you bring in the big vending companies that are at the major ballparks and football stadiums, where you order a beer and it's like $10. And they bought the case for $10, And in some cases, the beer is given to them in exchange for marketing, billboards, a shirt, whatever the case may be. Not a shirt, but you know what I'm saying. And that's how it kind of works. And I know this from the inside, been involved with that, and it's kind of like sharing the wealth. So you just have, those are the things that they do. And I would hate to go to my local racetrack. Wow, Freudian slip there. I would hate to go to a racetrack and pay like $9 for a beer, or $8 for a hot dog, or like $5 for a can of a thing of popcorn. I was at the Nassau Coliseum for an event not too long ago. It was the WWE, and even though I shouldn't be eating this, I just had this craving for cotton candy, and I wanted a cotton candy. And it was a little puff thing. It wasn't even big. It was little, and they wear the price on their shirt and a button, and it was like $9.50. I was like, are you kidding? Are you kidding? But I don't know. But yeah, I mean, Kevin, you're involved. You know what it's like, and you do the right thing, and you're gonna make money. And I always say, why take the whole pie? Take a piece of it. Like I said, I've said this a dozen times. The working man who goes to the racetrack, his local racetrack with his family, he says to his wife and kids, "I got a $100 bill. Let's go to the races." If you hit him at the gate and the 100's gone, you ain't buying hot dogs and hamburgers and soda and ice cream. Get him in. You're gonna get that 100 at the end of the night anyway. That's my opinion. That's what I think. I don't know. Oh, you guys are picking on Kevin, man. What the heck? Guy's my neighbor now. Be nice to him. Gotta be neighbor. Love thy neighbor, it says in the Bible. But anyway, I'm in one of those moods today. Yes, Formula One, the Formula One Grand Prix was in the Australian Grand Prix of Formula One. Was won by Lewis Hamilton. Second was Nico Rosberg. Third was Sebastian Vettel. Felipe Massa was fourth, and Felipe Nazar, I hope I said that right, was fifth. And I'll tell you what, there's a dedicated bunch of guys. It's Formula One. I watched the movie. I saw it in the movies, I guess last year or the year before, and I watched it the other night. Called Rush, and it was a rush. What goes on behind the scenes, and the rivalries, and the politics. And I thought NASCAR had some serious power. This man, if you can get, I don't know if it's out on video. I got it. I can't say how I got it. But anyway, I got it, and I watched it again. And it's nice when you watch it in the comfort of your bed, and you're sitting there, and you got your laptop going, and you're watching it, and you're watching it. You can like pause and play that back. What did they say? What just happened? You can't do that when you go to the movies. But and speaking of going to movies, I was told I can't pick out movies anymore. But anyway, that's a whole other story. But Formula One, I'm talking dedicated. The logistics of traveling the world to go racing, it's just got to be. I don't know. I knew what it was like when the tour went to Canada, when they went to Ontario Speedway, Delaware Speedway in Canada. And I can remember just the logistics of doing that. And even though in the years at UPS, knowing what it takes to get a package over the border, let alone a race car hauler with all its stuff, and how you have to have a full inventory of what's in that trailer. And they can open it up at any time, and you better have it. You better have what you say. It's crazy, and don't have any bad stuff on your record, because you might get into the country, but you might not get out. Which happened unfortunately to one of the hauler drivers. He was stuck at the border. But Rush, good movie. I think when I saw it last year or the year before, I think I talked about it here. It was just a good movie, and the storyline behind it was a good racing story. It was a love-hate thing, and it was respect, and that's what's missing, I think, in racing today, is the respect, and not only for competitor to competitor, but the track operators to the car owners, the track operators to the competitors and the fans. It's not like it used to be. It's just not, and I guess nothing really is. Nothing really is as it used to be. But sometimes you got to make it. You got to make it the way it used to be. But what did I say? Who was that say? I said, used to be's don't count anymore. little kneel down. Man. Used to be don't count anymore. They just lay on the floor till you sweep away. The control room. He wasn't even born back then. He was too young for that stuff, you know. Oh, I'm getting old. Oh, I'm getting old. You know, 30 years ago, I says, I hope I never say that when I'm old. And here I am saying back in my day. But anyway, we're going to take another break. When we come back, we're going to talk about Caraway and the Southern Wheeling Modified Tour when we come back.
What's up, guys? We're Scare No Fair, and we're here with Enravio. If they catch you at a show with one of these bracelets, you will win $100.
That's a lot of money.
So get a bracelet.
Do whatever it takes to get that. Hit them up online.
The world of advertising has changed. Radio, TV, and newspaper revenues have declined drastically. Why? Because businesses have realized that advertising return on investment isn't what it used to be. So what can we do about it? Well, that's easy. Advertise online. Own a local restaurant, real estate agency, or even a national retail chain? Whatever your business, Enravio can get your message out there. And we can do it at a fraction of the cost. Call today and see the difference for yourself. This isn't TV. This isn't radio. This is Enravio.com. Enravio.com wants you. Enravio provides the best in TV, film, post-production, and so much more. And we're growing. Right now, we're looking for a team of pros that can join us. So what are you waiting for? We need show hosts, production crew, marketing gurus, sales experts, audio engineers, lighting, visual effects, and camera crews. We want you. Go to Enravio.com/join the team.
Hey, I'm Raul Panther.
And I'm Commander B. Hawkins.
And I'm Rich Weller. We're some of the proto men. If we see you without this bracelet, you're punching the But if you have this bracelet from Enravio.com, you can win $100.
Put one of these on, or else.
For over 60 years, Hanson Carpet has put the customer first, providing only the finest quality products and service. And Hanson Carpet is so much more than just carpet. We also carry a wide selection of window blinds and shades, and our licensed and insured technicians can service any of your flooring or window covering needs. Browse our huge selection of laminate, carpet, linoleum, vinyl, and tile. Stop by our showroom today or visit HansonCarpet.com. No matter what your project, Hanson Carpet has got you covered.
We're back. I'm having fun in the chat room. For those who are in the chat room, you can see. It's good to have fun. Fun is good. Fun is good. Anyway, Caraway. Caraway had some weather issues on Saturday. This race which was originally scheduled for Saturday, was run on Sunday. And Long Island's own Eric Goodale won the Wheeling Southern Modified event at Caraway yesterday. And the weather was holding it over till Sunday. Was good. And you know, it's funny, I've been trying to get Eric Goodale on this show since he started racing on the tour. You know, nice local guy, good guy. And he said, I'll tell you what, when I win a race, I'll come on. So there was a couple of times he was in contention for the win, and up at the Delaware Speedway in Ontario, he got caught up into an incident with a couple of laps to go with Doug Colby and Ron Silk, and it looked like he was going to, at least be in contention for the win. And then he had another incident where he was running strong and got caught up, and another time he finished second. I said to him, I said, you finished second because you just don't want to be on my show. And then he laughed. But it's a good thing, and we're going to try to make arrangements to get Eric Goodale on the show. Yeah, he'll make a very good guest and going into it. But, Caraway, I like that place. A lot of people don't, but I do. I like that place. I've officiated a couple events there, more than a couple. But like I said, Eric Goodale was the winner. Jason Myers, who set pole and broke a track record for qualifying, was second. John Smith third. Davin Calabrese was fourth, and Bobby Meismer Jr. was fifth. The Southern Tour will be back at Caraway in 2 weeks on March 28th. Caraway seems to be the place where it's like the Northern Tour is like it's their Stafford. They go there a lot, But yeah, he did win a race at New Smyrna Speedway, but he told me that didn't count. It had to be a tour race. But we'll have fun with it. We'll get him here. We'll get him on. It'll be a good thing. Speaking of the Northern Tour, now rumor has it, 2003 Whelen Modified Tour champion Todd Szegedy will pilot the Bob Garbarino's Mystic Missile in 2015. Ray State, Connecticut claims multiple sources have confirmed the rumor. I reached out for Todd Szegedy, why not? Go right to the guy, And he has not gotten back to me. So I don't know if he's looking at that saying, who let it out of the bag? We're still negotiating. Because that's what I'm thinking. Because I know with the Mystic Missile team and Bob Garbarino, you don't just show up with a suit and helmet. You show up with a bag of cash and or motors or something to run that. And WJ, you're right. Come to think of it, he won here in Long Island. And he skated away. I forgot about that. Oh, and I don't forget things. And I forgot that. Now I'm going to really have to squeeze him a little bit, get him on here. But anyway, but I want who should play the main character in that movie? I don't know. It's kind of tough, No, it's funny. 22 figure. I probably have 4 or 5 interviews in the can, so to speak, from tour drivers, and trying to save them, trying to use them on nights that I'm away traveling or just can't get here, or the Oakdale merge is completely blocked. But we have 4 or 5 that are in the can. Howie Brody was one of the better ones that we just recently did, that we have done, and we have a few of the tour guys. Done. So we're going to utilize those things moving forward and just go from there. But anyway, like I said, Todd Szegedy, I'll tell you what, and if they do come to terms, yeah, okay, WJ. If they do come to terms, Szegedy and Garbarino, I think they're going to be strong right out of the box. Garbarino's going to be running for championships again, because Todd Szegedy is, I'll tell you what, he won that championship in 2003. I believe it was 2004, 2005. He went up to what was then the Nationwide Series, now the Xfinity Series. Didn't see too much success there, and it's kind of funny. And I've said this: guys who come out of the modifieds and move on to other things, some are successful, such as Stefanik when he was in the old Busch North, and some are just not. So I don't know, and but it'll be good. And as much as some of these guys in the Whelen Modified Tour are kind of fading away, and I don't want to say retiring, but leaving and moving on to other things and moving into other series, you have to ask that question of what's going on, and that's what NASCAR needs to do. They need to take a look at these guys. They need to see where are those 15 or 20 competitors who have been with the tour year after year, race after race? Where are they today? Why are they racing these other series? And listen to those car owners. Listen to what they have to say. Because I think that's what's missing in some of the touring series. The decisions and things of that nature are being made in a boardroom. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not putting NASCAR down for that. I think it's for the longest time, a certain group kind of controlled at least the modified tour, and prior to that, the old Busch North, and which became the Busch East, which then became the K&N Series. was controlled by a little select group as well. And I think NASCAR's kind of reined that all in and says, hey, we're going to make these decisions now. So, you know, they really need to get their hands dirty. They need to get into the trenches with these teams, get in with these car owners, and not have like a little, you know, talk to 2 or 3 guys, you know, you know, at a racetrack somewhere where maybe a series director or a touring series director, you know, goes back because, you know, and this is what happens in corporate America. And I'm sure you folks know this and who have worked for, you know, big corporations. You don't want to rock the boat. You don't want to upset the apple cart. And you want to be all positive. And I'll tell you what, and that's okay. But sometimes you got to be realistic, and it's not always positive. And when you're not filling your fields, when the Sprint Cup Series has trouble filling the field, and the Xfinity, and even in the trucks, the Camping World Truck Series, when you have these starting parks, that's just so you had a whole field of cars. And I can remember sending home more cars than we started in some events. And something needs to be looked at. Because, you know, the purses in that series and in the modified tour, at least up north, have dropped over the years. You know, and you think about it. When a team's coming in and the bid fee is whatever, well, $30, I'll say, because that's what it is. The touring guys get 10 people, if I'm not mistaken, at a $30 rate. And so there's 10 people, that's 300. And if you have, you know, 20 cars, you know, that's $6,000. But if you have 50 cars, you know, just do the math. There's a lot more money. And that's what needs to happen. You know, that's what really needs to be. That's what needs to, you guys, I thought I was a wacko. You guys are crazy. Anyway, but that's what needs to happen. And, you know, they need to talk to these guys. They really do. They need to talk to these guys and find out what's going on. What is it going to take? Is it the cost? Is it the rule changes that come out, which, you know, I'm all for any rule that has to do with safety. I'm not for a rule that has to do with lining somebody's pockets. And I'm not going to get into what rules they were or weren't, because I'll be all wrong. But, you know, and I said that when I was a head official at a weekly track. I said it when I was a race director. I said it when I was a tech guy. You know, I'm all for a rule if it's going to save somebody. And I'd rather be proactive than reactive. There's a lot of rules that are put in the rule book, in NASCAR's rule book, that were based on incidences that happened on a racetrack. And why does it have to come to that? It just should not. And I'm kind of big on that. And a lot of people might think that I'm arrogant when I say certain things like that. But, you know, I went to a rules meeting back in 04, 05, and I made a comment about the windshield on the modifieds, the curved windshields. And it was a paradigm, I'm sure, because no, there's nothing wrong with those windshields. You know, we want the thing, where everything is going to hit the windshield, we want it to glance off. And then all of a sudden, somebody blew a motor, and a wrist pin or a piece of the rod came and went through, and it hit somebody in the helmet. It cracked their helmet. Not good. You know, Brian Chu got hit in the helmet with this piece. He's going 130, 140 miles an hour. He gets his bell wrong. Not good. All of a sudden, there's a new windshield rule. I made that suggestion 6 years ago, but it wasn't broke, so we weren't going to fix it. There's a couple of things, and I'm not getting into it. I really think, you know, anybody who's ever sat in a modified, and I think Silverback, welcome, I hope you're doing good, sat in a modified, you got one way out, and it's the driver's side window, because all this other stuff that's over here, you can't get over through there. If you have an impact that you're in the wall, driver's door first, and the Nerf bar is smashed up against the window opening, and your wheels are in the windshield, because, you know, everything falls off, because that's what it's designed to do, and you can't get out. I suggested a roof hatch. Ooh, quick release, bop, it pops open, you stand up. No, mark my words, within 5 years, you're going to see that. You're going to see that, mark my words. I just think that's how it's going to be. Anyway, enough of that. In ARCA, I'm sure everybody saw the video, Will Kimmel was involved in a horrific crash at Mobile Speedway in Mobile, Alabama. Kimmel ended up in the parking lot after being on a racetrack that didn't have walls. Now, Jeff Gordon's saying you need safer barriers, you don't want to hit hard walls, and this racetrack had no walls, and the guy went up. He must have won a good 50, 60 yards, and he went through the barrier that kept the people from the parking lot from just walking in, and ended up hitting a pickup truck. He's not injured, he's fine, he walked away. But I can remember a racetrack like that upstate New York that didn't have walls in the corners. That we ran a tour at. I believe it was Adirondack. There's so many racetracks, they all seem the same. And even Bethel now, when I first went up there was no walls on the backstretch. I understand they are now. But this guy, once you get a little air, and then you're bouncing through the dirt and the grass, you're picking up speed. And I'm just happy that no spectators were there when that happened. I think they need to take a look at that. It needs to be something more than a wall, a little like a Jersey barrier separating the parking lot from the racetrack. Just my opinion. I don't know, but I'm thinking that's what has to be done. So what else we got? The Tri-Track Series. The Tri-Track Open Modified Series entry list is up to 50 competitors. The races will be at Lee USA Speedway on May 17th, Monadnock on June 13th, Seekonk on July 1st, and New London Waterford Speedbowl on September 13th. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, folks. Tri-Track, doesn't that mean there's 3 tracks? Can somebody explain to me why there's like 4? How can it be a Tri-Track Series when there's 4 tracks? I don't know, just I don't know. I'm just wondering here, But it's a good series, and I think it's good for racing. I think there should be more of this. I think more people should grab the bull by the horns and make this happen in other series and like late models. I'd love to see a Tri-Track late model series. I would love to see that. I would love to see even like the Legends. I always wanted to see I call it a Cross-Sound Challenge. The Legend cars come to Long Island and Waterford. They race like 8-10 races, and the total points, you call it the Cross-Sound Champion. That's what I'm thinking. I think that'll be a good thing. I think that would be great. Somebody should do that. It is, though, Jack. Somebody told me there was a wall over there that you couldn't get into the street, but I guess not. You were just recently there. Or is the wall not there? Is it going in just that one area in turn 3? It's been a few years since I went up there. And you're right, 22 figure out it's the fault of the racetrack. And maybe nobody ever got injured. And again, we need to be proactive. Why wait till somebody gets injured to do something? I know a racetrack where one of the head officials was severely injured and died of his injuries months later because there was no catch fence in turn 3 and 4, that race where he officiated from, and then all of a sudden there was one after he died. And that just, why be reactive? Be proactive. Be proactive. But yeah, anyway, we're going to take a break before we wrap it up. There's a couple more things to talk about. We'll come back.
For over 60 years, Hanson Carpet has put the customer first, providing only the finest quality products and service. And Hanson Carpet is so much more than just carpet. We also carry a wide selection of window blinds and shades, and our licensed and insured technicians can service any of your flooring or window covering needs. Browse our huge selection of laminate, carpet, linoleum, vinyl, and tile. Stop by our showroom today or visit HansonCarpet.com. No matter what your project, Hanson Carpet has got you covered. The world of advertising has changed. Radio, TV, and newspaper revenues have declined drastically. Why? Because businesses have realized that advertising return on investment isn't what it used to be. So what can we do about it? Well, that's easy. Advertise online. Own a local restaurant, real estate agency, or even a national retail chain? Whatever your business, InRavio can get your message out there, and we can do it at a fraction of the cost. Call today and see the difference for yourself. This isn't TV. This isn't radio. This is InRavio.com.
Hey, this is Chris Jake, and if InRavio.com spots you at an event wearing this bracelet, they will give you $100.
What's up, guys? We're Scared Fair, and we're here with InRavio. If they catch you at a show with one of these bracelets, you will win $100.
That's a lot of money.
So get a bracelet.
Do whatever it takes to get that. Hit them up online.
InRavio.com wants you. InRavio provides the best in TV, film, post-production, and so much more. And we're growing. Right now, we're looking for a team of pros that can join us. So what are you waiting for? We need show hosts, production crew, marketing gurus, sales experts, audio engineers, lighting, visual effects, and camera crews. We want you. Go to InRavio.com/join the team.
Welcome back. Well, anyway, with the upcoming seasons, 2015, whether it's the weekly racing series, whether it's one of the touring series, whether it's the top three, as they call it, the Camping World Trucks, the Xfinity, or the Sprint Cup series, coming up this year, there's a lot going on in racing. There's a lot going on in society, in the world, and things have changed. It's not like it used to be. And money isn't as expendable cash isn't out there like it used to be either. So when you look at those things, and I look at what would it take? What would it take to make this happen? To make racing what it once was? Full grandstands, some good hard racing, full pit areas. I mean, the pits aren't full anywhere. They're not full anywhere. And other than in like the World of Outlaws, the Dirt Series, Formula One. And what's the correlation? The correlation is such that the organizations who answer to the needs of the competitors and the fans alike are doing better than the dictatorships of some of these other series across the world, I'll say. And when I say that, and I say that because what you have to do is this. You need input. You have to have focus group meetings with the people involved, the people in the trenches, the people who were there making it happen. And it's not so much, how do you put this? Years ago, there was only a select few that had input. Then you expanded it out, and then it became a gripe session. The powers to be need to listen to the people putting on the show, and what needs to happen might not happen right away. And when you look at when you have a series, and I'm going to take the modified tour because that's the one I'm closest to, and in no way is this a knock at the NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour, its sponsors, its the teams or anything. My question is, how do you go from 45 cars to 25 cars when a series that pays a quarter of the purse is getting 35 to 40 cars? How is that? I don't understand that. It's the same basic car, it's the same motor, same chassis, same body, same safety stuff in the race car. What's the problem? I think I know what the problem is. I'm not going to say it here. I'm throwing a little fuel for thought here. And I know there's people, the powers that be, that come on and they don't log into the chat room and they don't talk and chat. But what they do is they say, Joe said this and Joe said that. And I'm hoping some of the things that I say in a constructive criticism type way get looked at. I'm not here to break shoes or put anybody down, because we all work hard at what we do when we're racing, whether we're a fan, whether we're a crew chief, whether we're a driver, whether we're just a crew guy, whether we're a sponsor, owner, whatever. We're still working hard at what we do, and it's our passion, and that's why we do it. And I think it's as it looks now is if you have the money, you're welcome. And if you have the sponsorship and you don't share it, well, you're not. But that's a whole nother story. But we're going to wrap up. We're coming to a close here. I want to thank everybody. I got 2 minutes. I can say one more ranty thing before I wrap up. But I think everybody understands what I'm trying to say. And most of us in this chat room tonight have been around this sport. I mean, man, I've been doing this, since the 70s, and I know WJ, you've been, longer than me, and Silverback, you've been around for a long time, and even 22 figure 8, you go back a long way too, and it's just one of those things, and I just think that what needs to be done is you need to talk to the guys and gals putting on the show. But anyway, with that being said, now I could close up. So I want to thank you folks for taking time out of your busy schedules to sit here and listen and talk racing and whatever else you guys wanted to talk about, and gals. And wherever your travels may bring you this week, please be safe. I want to see each and every one of you back here next Monday night. The reunion show, not the reunion, the anniversary show is tentatively scheduled for March 30th. Evites will be going out to the people who are going to have come down. And that should be a good show. It'll be a 2-hour event spread out over 2 nights. So anyway, we'll details to follow. But anyway, I want to thank everybody again. Somebody love them, give them a hug. God bless you all, and we'll see you next week. Have a good one.